Getting away with murder in Chicago. That is what some critics say is still happening after an I-team investigation exposed hundreds of backlog murder cases in Illinois crime labs.
Well, state officials promised to tackle this problem, and now consumer investigator Jason Knowles is asking, well, what has really changed? Jason?
We did ask that 10 months after our first investigation. The I-team is finding there are still hundreds of murders waiting to be analyzed by state crime labs, some dating back to 2016. We talked with family members of a murder victim who are fed up with those DNA delays.
I feel so lost.
Shirley Burgess and her sister Susan Turner say their grieving process is excruciating.
We need some peace of mind.
Their sister, Sheila Burgess, was raped and murdered in November of 2017 in her South Chicago neighborhood apartment. Burgess's sisters believe they know the suspect, an acquaintance who has been in and out of jail. But processing of the DNA that could possibly answer their questions has been delayed.
My sister was a fighter. I know it had to be something on her fingernails or something.
The I-team has learned that final results from a series of lab tests were completed in July by the Illinois State Police crime labs, about 1 year and 8 months after the murder. But the Burgess family is now waiting on CPD detectives, which said DNA evidence was insufficient to provide a viable sample, and therefore the investigation remains open. The Burgess family questions that part of it as well.
He beat my sister, he strangled her, and he raped her. Well, ain't nothing but DNA on my sister from him.
Our investigation in November of 2018 uncovered more than 750 murder cases backlogged in the Illinois crime labs. All of it discovered after Carmia Tang emailed me about the year-plus delay in her son's murder case. She says she finally saw lab results a year and a half later, but still no arrest.
They shouldn't have to live that tragedy.
Since then, Governor Pritzker blamed resources and pledged to tackle the problem. Illinois State Police showed the I-team new procedures and tools being used to reduce the DNA delay in labs. But the I-team wanted a progress report from the director of the Illinois State Police.
The overall biology and DNA case assignment backlog is down 10%.
But are they down by enough?
No, we have to get to the point where the turnaround time that we have now has to get increasingly lower. Under the Freedom of Information Act, we also asked for updated data for Chicago area murder cases still being analyzed. From 2016, 7. 2017, 127. 2018, a huge backlog of 438. And in 2019, 93. That total is 665, a reduction from the 750-plus cases we uncovered in November. ISP says they changed the way they categorize cases, so those numbers could even be lower. So we're definitely moving in the right direction. The rate at which those cases are being processed is up 30%. State Senator Patricia Van Pelt has been holding state crime labs accountable by holding hearings.
When you're waiting for an answer about your loved one, you need to have something. Tell me that I'm sixth in line and my case will be analyzed in 3 days or 5 days or whatever.
The Burgess family says they pray that the apparent lack of DNA doesn't result in a suspect getting away with the murder of their sister.
I don't want him to hurt anybody else.
ISP said it was hiring 26 more forensic scientists. So far, none of those positions have been filled, but the state says there are 70 candidates left in the interview process. Rapid DNA testing will also be implemented, which can identify a suspect within hours. However, rapid DNA is not yet approved for all cases, and according to the FBI, it cannot yet be used on the actual and at the actual crime scene.
You have a way to go still, don't we?
Yep, but they're determined.
All right, Jason.